A voice. Meaning. Clear as day. From inside the basement. You don't want to do that. I froze. It wasn't just the voice. It was the certainty behind it. Like whatever was speaking had been practicing for years how to sound exactly like me, but more confident, more real. And then I saw it, at the base of the stairs, looking up at me. It had my face, but it wasn't me. Eyes like holes in the dark, mouth curled too wide, hands stretched long, fingers twitching like it hadn't worn this body in a while. I dropped the match. It fizzled out before hitting the first step. The thing at the bottom of the stairs smiled. Not because I failed. Because I hesitated. I ran. Drove 3 hours out of town. Slept in a Walmart parking lot. When I came back the next day, the house was still there. But something was wrong with the air. It felt thinner, like the space between here and somewhere else had been pulled taut. The basement door was wide open. The light was off, and at the top of the stairs, muddy footprints. Coming out. Now I keep moving. I've changed cities 3 times. Never stay longer than a month. No bashments. No crouch buffets. Always upper floors. But sometimes when I sleep too long in one place, I wake up to find dirt on my carpet. Footprints leading from the closet. Sometimes I hear knocking on the walls at night. And the worst part, sometimes I knock back. Because deep down, I think part of me never left that basement. And something else came out wearing my skin. Basements aren't supposed to breathe. I know how that sounds, but I swear mine does. Not every night and not all the time, but sometimes when I stand at the top of the stairs and listen hard enough, I can hear it. A slow inhale, a deep exhale, like whatever's down there is waiting for me to come closer. When I first moved into this house, I figured it was just old pipes, or maybe the furnace kicking on. But then things started going missing. Not big things, little things. A single sock, my favorite coffee mug, a screwdriver, my cat's collar. The strange part wasn't that they disappeared. It's where they turned up. Always at the bottom of the basement stairs, laid out neatly like someone or something wanted me to notice. And then came the knocking, not from outside the house, from under it, knocking from beneath the floorboards, from inside the walls, sometimes rhythmic, sometimes slow. Once, it sounded like someone knocking the shave and a haircut beat. I told myself it was animals, or plumbing, or maybe my imagination, until I heard it speak. Just 3 words, spoken in my own voice. Come down here. That was last week. Since then, I haven't gone near the basement. I sleep with the lights on. I keep my phone recording at night. And I've started locking the basement door with 2 deadbolts and a chair wedged under the handle. But something's changed. Now, it doesn't want me to come down anymore. Now, it wants to come up. I moved into the house 2 months ago. Quiet neighborhood. Cheap mortgage. The kind of place you think you're lucky to get. At first, everything seemed normal. A little creaky, sure, but it was an old house. I was expecting that. The real estate agent had warned me the basement was unfinished and a bit musty, but that didn't bother me. I wasn't planning on using it much anyway, just storage. The first few days, I noticed it had a weird smell. Not like mold or rot, more like breath. Warm, damp, metallic. I figured maybe a raccoon or something had gotten in, but I never found droppings or signs of chewing. Then came the lights. I'd turn off all the lights before bed. Always. And yet, somehow, the basement light would be on when I woke up. I thought I was just forgetful, until it happened 5 nights in a row. Then it got stranger. I'd hear sounds. Not loud bangs or thumps, just tiny things. Scrapes. Clicks. What sounded like a nail being dragged slowly across a concrete wall. Sometimes I'd be sitting upstairs watching TV and hear a soft knock below me. Just one. Always one. One night, I finally got fed up. I grabbed a flashlight, headed down there, and looked around. I swept every corner. There was nothing down there but a few old moving boxes, an old hot water heater, and concrete walls. But the second I turned around to go back upstairs, I heard it. A single footstep. I froze, light shaking in my hand. I slowly turned back. Nothing. No one. But when I went back upstairs and closed the door, I could have sworn I heard something shift below. Almost like it had waited for me to leave. That was the first night I had a nightmare. I dreamed I was standing at the top of the basement stairs looking down, but the stairs just kept going. Deeper and deeper. And at the very bottom, something crawled up toward me. Long limbs. No face. Skin like old wax. I woke up gasping. I started locking the basement door. Not just to keep it out, but to keep myself from going down there. I knew I wouldn't be able to resist forever. Curiosity has teeth. But every morning, that door was open again. No signs of forced entry. No broken locks. The keys would still be in my pocket. One morning, I found the chair that had been wedged under the doorknob in the kitchen, standing upright, as if someone had placed it there politely. That's when the voices started. At first, they were whispers, indistinct, echoes I chalked up to the wind or house settling. But they got louder. They'd call my name, not once or twice, over and over. Sometimes it was my mother's voice. Sometimes my ex. Sometimes my own. Always from the basement. Always begging me to come down. Or whispering secrets I could almost understand. I tried recording them, but the recordings were always blank. Just static or silence. Or sometimes white noise that spiked at strange intervals, like something trying to speak through distortion. One night, I set up my phone at the top of the basement stairs, recording while I slept. The next morning, I pressed play. For the first 3 hours, nothing. Then, at 3:22 a.m., I heard my own voice say, "He's asleep now. I'm coming up." The sound of footsteps on concrete. Then the phone cuts out. When I checked it, the battery was dead, despite being fully charged the night before. And then I noticed something else. The basement light was off. I hadn't touched it, but now it was dark down there, and the darkness felt thick, like it was waiting. I tried to convince myself I was cracking up, that it was sleep deprivation, stress, some buried trauma resurfacing now that I lived alone. But it wasn't just me anymore. That night, my friend Kyle came over. He's the skeptical type. Loves debunking ghost stories, urban legends, all that crap. I didn't tell him everything. Just said I kept hearing things in the basement and it was freaking me out. We had a couple beers. Around 11, I casually mentioned the sounds usually started around 2 a.m. He laughed and said, "Great, we'll ghost hunt. I'll bring the Scooby snacks." He went down first. Flashlight. No fear. I waited at the top of the stairs. He called back. "Nothing down here but your junk and a lot of dust." I was about to reply when I heard two voices echo from below. One was Kyle's. The other was mine. Muffled. Whispering. Like someone was speaking into his ear with my exact voice. He screamed. I bolted down the steps, nearly tripping. Kyle was backed into the far corner, flashlight shaking. His face was pale. He said, "You were just here, right behind me, whispering something. I thought it was a joke, but you weren't." I wasn't. He refused to stay the night. He practically ran out of the house. That was the night I realized. It doesn't just want me. It wants out. I started sleeping in the car, keeping the basement locked from the outside with padlocks and a steel bar across the door. Still, every time I came back, something had changed inside the house. Drawings on the wall, my toothbrush in the fridge, a dead bird on my kitchen counter with its neck twisted all the way around. And then, one morning, I found muddy footprints coming up the basement stairs. They didn't go back down. I decided to burn it. The basement. The whole damn house if I had to. I poured gasoline all the way down the stairs, along the concrete floor, even into the corners where the shadows always seemed to pool. Just before I struck the match, I heard it.